Hello, your microphone's off. There we go. Woo.
Excellent. How are
Hello,
you?
hello. I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing, my darling?
I'm all right. You're English.
I am English, yes.
You're based in the States.
Yes.
I was expecting an American accent.
um,
So where are you from? In the UK then?
I'm from Derbyshire originally.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And
And I've been here.
where are you in the States?
I'm in Indianapolis, which is
Oh,
about 500 miles north, 500 miles south, no, 300 miles south of Chicago.
right.
To give you the kind of geography of it. So yeah. But thank you so much for coming on
That's
today. I
okay.
really
Excuse
appreciate
the
it.
mess. It's a bit dark
It's
and
fine.
dingy. Is it clear enough? Yeah.
It's fine. It's absolutely
Good,
lovely.
good.
Yes, I just love the concept. So the reason that I kind of wanted to reach out to you is that I am going to be moving back to Derbyshire later this year,
Yeah.
and I just really liked your concept. So I just wanted to
Mhm.
dig down into that. And
Yeah, fire away.
obviously with Tea Room Secrets, we've got, I think, over 500 members in that group now. It's just becoming such a great forum for sharing ideas
Yeah.
and inspiring each other.
Mm.
So thank you. I appreciate
Right.
you coming on today. So Castle Combe, that's in Devon, isn't it?
It's in Wiltshire. So
Wiltshire,
it's
see,
on the
just
edge of
so
the
I have no
Cotswolds.
idea. I'm not very familiar with the south of England, so Wiltshire.
Yeah, so we're in the southwest. We're just on the edge of the Cotswolds.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah. So you've got lots of thatched cottages, have you? And you're,
And not so
no.
much thatch, but it's that yellow Cotswold stone. You know,
Oh,
the
yeah.
typical Cotswold stone.
Yeah. I've been watching Escape to the Country. I know where you are.
Actually, I think they came here. There was a program recently.
Oh, they go.
My house and the street and so on here. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. And you're quite right. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous part of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. Oh, wonderful. So how long have you been doing what you're doing, and what got you started?
So basically we moved from Clapham in South London to Castle Combe 20 years ago. We just got fed up with London life and we just needed a kind of complete change. Sure. So we moved here not knowing what kind of, we were sort of early 40s. And didn't know what kind of people lived here, what age they were, but just absolutely fell in love with the village, absolutely fell in love with the house. Yeah. And we moved in, and before long we had people knocking on the door saying, do you do bed and breakfast? And we didn't, Wow. But then I said, right, we've got to do something about this. So I didn't have children at the time. So we kind of did all we had to do in the house. And I basically had 2 rooms, which we then used for bed and breakfast guests. So it was great. And then, of course, I very soon afterwards discovered I was pregnant. So all the way up until I had my first daughter, I did the bed and breakfast. They would come in and they'd have like a little afternoon tea. This is how it all kind of began. Had a little afternoon tea to begin with. They would pre-book a dinner with me. We have a separate room that they could use for that. Then they'd have their, bed for the night, and then I do breakfast. It was great. I loved it. And then when Lola came along, who Barry Manilow has met, and she's named after the song Copacabana.
Oh, right.
He came to Castle Combe and I introduced her and said, this is the man who wrote the song you're all about. And I thought that was a very funny story. I know. And so then I sort of stopped for a while. But I soon got to thinking, well, we're living here. I've got a baby. I don't want to go out to work. I don't even know what I would do now. My background is kind of property and making handbags and sort of things like that. And I just, one Friday, I knew that this house has a history of being used, for tea room. So it has what we call here an existing use. Oh, right. And I remember one Friday, my husband was actually going back and forth to work. And I just thought, do you know what? I'm just going to do an experiment. I'm going to stick a notice outside the door, Victoria sponge, chocolate cake, ginger cake, cup of tea, see what happens, see who comes in. So, one Friday he came home literally to find this room. I don't know whether you can see it. It's quite a big room.
Oh, yeah.
Full of Japanese tourists.
He
said, what's going on? I said, as from tomorrow, I'm opening a tea room. So it literally was as simple as that. And then, of course, I went from something very simple to going through the process of actually getting that legally, obvious to everybody, because once I knew it had the use and I knew we probably had the permission, we went through the planners. So we had to pay some money to get the certificate of lawful use, and it was all above board, and nobody could sort of start talking here. And I sort of gradually, this is my famous kind of you can't see it very clearly, but this room is where I ran the business from, basically. And people loved the fact they were coming into somebody's house, and it was I've had to declutter because my teenagers refused to bring friends home with all the curious things in this room. They said, you've got to tip it all out, or we're never bringing friends home. So it's changed very much from a very quirky room with kettles and teapots hanging all over the place to actually being quite sort of normal now. But during that time, I've got some great photos of it, and it was a bit like a curiosity shop because it was just paintings and pictures. It was packed full of stuff, and people loved it. Anyhow, so I guess I did that, really sort of built the business up, started having tour guides come, started having regulars, started doing private parties, and went from basically tea, coffee and cake with biscuits at $3.50 to a full-blown sort of afternoon tea. And then I thought, actually, the best way to do this, because it's our home, is go down the private party route. To make it more special, make it more exclusive, just make it a nicer experience. And I stopped sort of doing that any old body just walking in. And
it helps you to plan as well, doesn't it? Rather than being on tender hooks, as people coming in, have I got enough cake, have I made enough scones?
And then of course you'd have that, I'm a vegan, I'm a gluten-free, I can't eat nuts, I can't, and I simply on my own could not supply all of that just as and when.
Do you make yourself?
Yeah, so I do a mixture of things. I mean, now, purely because I have my little artisan gift shop and I've got the children going back and forth to school, I have got suppliers, but of like home baked cakes and things. So yes, I did. And I do prepare it all, and I've got, the doorbell has just gone. People have come to pick up picnics. Will you give me a second?
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Late, so hang on 2 ticks.
Oh my gosh, isn't this just amazing? I love the barn door at the back there, and the dresser with all the cups and one of the picnic baskets. That is just lovely, and so nice to be talking to a fellow tea time enthusiast that's made a business out of, well, the fact that she lives in the most gorgeous village in Wiltshire, not Devon, I don't know what I was thinking there, and has built this up over a number of years, and that she is part of the Tea Room Secrets group. So this is Anna. She's from Castle Combe in Wiltshire, and she's been running a tea room from her home for about 20 years now, which is wonderful. She's pottering about in the back kitchen there, I think, probably getting her clotted cream together. Oh dear. Yes, I think this, did you hear the doorbell as well? It's like a big kind of proper bell. Oh, that is so special. Oh my goodness me. So if you remember what she was saying, she has applied for a legal setup in her home for a certificate of lawful use, which is the terminology that we have in the UK. And she's now focusing on private parties because she can charge more. That's an important note, that she can charge more for that. And she's not having to be on tenterhooks waiting for people to wander in. She knows when people are coming. She knows what they're ordering. She knows how much to make or buy in. And she is using people who are making home-baked cakes, or from scratch cakes, I think we probably say in the States. And obviously she does all the preparation herself. So what a wonderful, wonderful little business she's got going there. And I'm really interested to find out a little bit more about these picnics that she's doing, which is, oh look, she's been making the tea. Oh yeah, I think that was the hot drink element. So the people that she's just serving now have come up to collect a picnic basket, I think. Really interested to see how that goes. Spawned from the whole coronavirus situation where we couldn't serve in-house, and actually making it a fun picnic concept. So I'm really looking forward to asking her more about what she's doing now. Oh, can you see the little cake stand? Little 3-tier cake stand there. Oh my goodness me, what a beautiful home. What a beautiful property that she is utilizing fully, by the sounds of it, having run a bed and breakfast. I know we have some of our members that do afternoon tea around their bed and breakfast business. That's where Anna started. But to think that just putting a sign outside the house saying cake and tea, and then had
back.
Oh, hi there. Hi there.
Late. So that's the reason I wasn't expecting us to be interrupted.
No, not at all. I'm really excited for you. Tell me about the picnic basket side of the business and how that came into being.
Okay, so at the start of the pandemic, obviously we just shut because I didn't want anybody coming in the house, and I thought that's it, just everything, shut everything down. And we had the lockdown and so on, so nobody was coming anyway. So yeah, just close everything up. And my children decided they loved the fact that nobody was coming in the house. And they gave me a bit of a hard time saying, can we have our home back?
Yes.
Because, they would come home from school and there would be people here. They're getting to that age now where they just, Yeah,
they're not good with strangers, are they, at that age?
And I sort of thought, actually, it really is quite nice to just have the house back, even though it's a fairly big house and this is the only room, we use for the tea room. It's still people were coming and going and so on.
Yeah.
So I didn't do anything for, I suppose it was about 3 months at the start of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I just actually was beginning to get really bored, bored. And then I knew, okay, so what they're saying is, we had all these various rules, didn't we, that there could be this many of you outside, it was takeaways only, etc., etc. So I thought, well, people are coming, so why not start something whereby they can have a takeaway from me?
Yes.
So that same afternoon tea, which I did for the tea room, in effect, I got some nice boxes, some nice labels, packed those up. It was slightly less than the table sitting serving, but still a good sort of selection of savory and sweet things. And basically started thinking, that's it. So it'll be a takeaway box with a tea or coffee, and they could take it off and go on a walk. They could take it away with them and so on. And actually it was unbelievably busy. And then I thought, well, they're coming to such a lovely place. Why not make it a bit more of a special thing and give them the option of being able to have that picnic with a hamper, with a rug, with the flasks, some little games and books, china, crockery. So I went and bought a whole load of picnic baskets, blankets, flasks, little Hessian bags to put the china in. Got hand sanitizers. So it's a really nice, and then there's a sort of information sheet that they can read about Castle Combe, some nice little books. So, I mean, it's this sort of.
So takeaways, take out in the UK.
Yeah, they sort of pick up a hamper like that.
Oh,
and inside,
beautiful.
You know, they've got their picnic rug, there are books, there's china in there, and that's for two. But then, you know, if there are four, there are bigger hampers. So, you know, when they come here, we have got a small park space behind that they can take it to.
Okay.
Alternatively, you know, they can come and explore the village, do a walk, and then take them off somewhere else if they want to, as long as they return all of that on the same day. You know, it's fine. And it you know, it's quite unbelievable. I would say that during the pandemic, I did more business than I have probably ever done. Yes. Because we had not only the picnics, but then when they started saying, well, actually, what I thought was, okay, we're coming to the end of the summer. So now what do I do? You know, yes. I don't want to open the house again. So behind us here, we have a village hall, which is a nice sized village hall. And I thought, well, why don't I just basically put the price up so it would cover the cost of me hiring the hall and do it just as an exclusive party. And more to the point, people were very nervous about, you know, they weren't nervous about going out as a family, even with extended family, because they could trust each other that we've done tests. They didn't want to go somewhere where they were public. Yes. So it became a real positive thing for people who did want to celebrate a birthday or something with family, and they knew it was just going to be them. So, you know, the hall is quite a nice, long, narrow hall. And when they were saying, you know, groups of 6, so you can't have more than a group of 6 and you have to be distanced from the next table, what it meant was I could actually, if somebody came to me and said, there are 15 of us, there are 30 of us, it's my mother's 80th, I said, fine, we will put you into, you arrive, 6 of you, masks on, come in, sit down. The next 6 come, masks on, come in, sit down. There's a space of 2 meters between your tables and you stay put. So I basically said to them, you can get together, but these are the rules we have. These are the rules, Groups of 6, you don't mingle and mix. I'll arrange the tables in such a way that you can talk and chat, but we complied with all the sort of regulations. And it meant that I could then carry on with a sort of winter business, which has now become an all year round kind of business. And it's great. So we have, you know, coming from the States, baby showers have become a really big thing here. So I've just added and added more and more to the interiors of there now. It started off very simple, just with nice tablecloths and a few artificial plants and this and that. Now I've got a prop up fireplace with a fire I put on, and you know, it's completely kind of transformed into, people can't believe it doesn't exist until it's kind of created. Yeah, so you're having to create that every day that you have a booking. Well, it's just behind me. It's just behind me, and it is a lot of work. But you know what? I mean, I'm just here. You know, because it's such fun and such a pleasure to do it. I just love all that setting up and each time making it look different. I don't kind of think of that as this is my time, I should be charging for this. I just think to myself, this is great fun. I'm enjoying it. It looks wonderful. These guests are coming and I'm making good money out of it. Yeah, you know, yeah, that's good. That you're covering your costs. You did a good thing by putting up the prices so that you've got that. What does the village hall and the village think to what you're doing? Are they being quite supportive? So from their point of view, you know, we need an income for the village hall. And I would say, having moved here 20 years ago, where each house was occupied, probably 95% we were residents, it's now under 50% residents. Oh, really? So we have a lot of people who have Airbnbs, who have second home. I mean, it's a very sad fact, but the village is dying, as they are in many places. So, you know, we do play quite an important role in the village. We've been here a long time. My husband does a lot for the church. You know, we're always there looking after people if they need help of any sort, the elderly people. So for those of us that are still here, we're a real family. And nobody would do anything to say no to me. So I can do what I like. No, so it is an income for them. It's being used. And if I wasn't sort of doing it, and then we have a guy who comes who does Pilates classes. We have another woman in the village who runs a market sort of twice a week from there. So we have a nice kind of steady income. And for me, you know, to be honest, if I did 2 decent sized private parties a month, that is the equivalent of me sitting and running a coffee shop serving tea and coffee every day. Except it's 2 days.
2 days, yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is really good, because this is one of the things that I talk to the members about, is this idea of doing higher value, less frequently, but more profitable work.
Exactly.
Because you can absolutely kill yourself doing it every day and only getting dribs and drabs of people coming through.
No, it's thinking of how to make something more profitable.
Without more effort,
attractive to you. So I would not run a business where I had to stand behind a till every day serving. I simply would. It doesn't interest me. I don't want to stand serving tea and coffee in a premises all day long, waiting for people to come. It's just not. I haven't got the patience for that. I like to know who's coming, when they're coming, prepare it. No waste. You know, we provide takeaway boxes, so anything they can't eat, they take with them, and it's all done and dusted and finished. And you can say yes or no, or I'm kind of completely in control of whether I do it or don't do it, or which is great.
That's fantastic.
All these food allergies and sort of food, you know, special dietary requirements and so on, took a lot of thinking to try and give everybody an option. So we have an egg-free afternoon tea, a dairy-free and gluten-free, vegan. Nut-free, you know. And as with there, I suppose you also know you have to be able to tell a customer what
everything that's in.
So cut and paste to save my life. So anything which I buy, I cut and paste those ingredients and put it into that particular menu. So whatever the vegan menu is, whatever the vegetarian, whatever the gluten-free, every single food item, cut and pasted the ingredients. So if somebody calls and says, I'm gluten-free, but I'm also allergic to, and they say something I've never even heard of, I will type that in. No, it hasn't appeared. So I can safely say, fine, that's fine. Or if, you know, so there was a lot of preparation for all.
That's a lot of work. Are you able to source all those recipes and those products?
So now, you know, you can go onto the Facebook page and basically for those with no special dietary requirements, it's a standard menu. If you're dairy free, this is what you have. If you're gluten-free, this is what you have. And they choose their fillings from there. And then, you know, so you can, so the dairy-free and the vegan, there are crossovers. So in my head now, in the beginning, it was such a lot to think about, and I would panic if someone said I have something allergy. I'd be like, oh, but now it's literally just type that
and that's because you've built a system, isn't it? You've built that system, you've systematized that part of your business. So like you're saying, you don't have to worry about it each time. And you've managed to find suppliers that will meet those requirements.
And over here, I don't know what it's like in the States, but here now, there's a huge variety of vegan, sort of vegetarian products, ingredients, and so on. You know?
We are. I was back in the UK in December and January and was overwhelmed by how much veganism has kind of taken the country over, even to the point that my daughter was going through January as vegan a diet as she could. So that introduced me to a lot of new foods. Not so mainstream, I would say, in the States. But certainly when I was running my tea rooms, we would have, you know, people say, you know, I'm dairy free. And it's like, well, how are you baking? Because we made everything in-house. You know, how can you bake everything from scratch? Because baking does take butter and eggs and milk, you know, so it's like, how can you do an afternoon tea like that? So we took the stance that we weren't going to do that, but then there was some things on our kind of a lunchtime menu that were naturally vegetarian or vegan or what have you. So we would kind of modify that as required. What was frustrating though was when the guests wouldn't tell you until they turned up. And it's like, well, if you told me ahead of time, I could have prepared something. So now the question is, you know, are there any dietary restrictions we need to be aware of?
That's my first question. Any food allergies? No?
Yes.
Okay, any? Okay.
Yeah.
And if it sounds really complicated, I say, I'm not open that day.
Good.
I know, seriously, I have had the odd call where I've just thought, I have no option but to serve you a carrot because you're allergic to this, you can't eat that, you don't want this, you don't want
I can give you some lettuce on a plate.
I've actually just thought, do I really want to do this?
Yes,
today?
and that's a really good point, actually. And it's a good kind of coaching point, learning point for our members to kind of take on board, is know what the business is that you want. And if it's going to completely tie you in knots, it's okay to say no. Like you say, you can either say, you know, I'm sorry, I can't accommodate that, or I don't have room that day.
You know, I had somebody call the other day saying, I'd like to order 2 picnics. Fine, what day? Took all the information. He said, are you able to do a carb-free one? And I just thought, well, for goodness sake, you can see there are scones, cream, jam, cake. Carbohydrate free is a salad.
That's right.
And I sort of said to him, I said, well, I mean, the afternoon tea is full of carbs, so you know. And so actually he said, I'll have a chat, and he didn't come back. But it's that's kind of a ridiculous ask, unless literally they say, can you do a salad for one of us?
That's right.
I had the other week I had somebody, it was a big party actually, and I was told that one of the guests was sugar intolerant. So sugar intolerant.
Okay. Now she wanted sweets.
Well, and I sort of said, do you mean as in he doesn't like sweet things, or can he actually not? Because virtually everything has sugar in it, you know, doesn't it? By a sort of anyway, we got around it, and I ended up doing him just a savory, but I mean, I did add, you know, sort of tomatoes and cucumbers on little kebab sticks and this and that, and hang on, it's my own alarm. So, you know, wherever possible, I will try and accommodate somebody.
Of course.
Carbohydrate-free afternoon tea is something I'm not going.
Yes, I mean, I suppose you could go carb neutral, but my goodness, can you imagine the amount of work you'd have to put into that to find seeded bread and different flours for your scones and such like it? Yes, you have to draw the line, I think, somewhere, and we can get into a bit of a pickle if we try and do everything and be everything for everybody. So I think that's a good learning point there. Oh, that sounds so wonderful. Is there anything else that you would like to impart as far as if only I'd have known this, or oh, I wish I'd have done that, or you know, what's been the biggest struggle for you, would you say?
The biggest struggle? Well, I hate not doing things right and well and as best as I can. So it's, you know, there are always those few difficult sort of customers, very few, but it would be nice to be able to serve everybody all the time with everything, and that's frustrating for me because that's not possible. So, you know, here we have a lot of tourists coming here, and with me it says a little picnic shop outside. They ring the bell, this is the standard and vegetarian menu, and I can prepare those. It's just me, there's nobody else. So, you know, takes me half an hour. But then you'll have a couple and somebody will say, do you have oat milk? I don't have oat milk, I've got soya milk. No, I can't have soya milk. So then I can't do anything for them then. Or you know, they will ask for some, and I just don't like saying no, I can't do it. So for me, that's a frustration. Or if they want to have a vegan or a dairy-free or a gluten-free, that takes time. And so I say, well, I can prepare it for you, but I'm going to need, like, you know, I'll need an hour or two because I've got to start from scratch with things.
Yes.
And then it's that sort of, I hate disappointing. So it's that disappointed look, no, we're starving, we want to now. Okay, thanks. And they go away unsatisfied. That for me is like the worst thing, because I love people to enjoy it and to go away thinking, oh, thank you, it was so wonderful.
Yes, yeah.
And I, you know, I'm a Virgo, so it's all got to be right.
No, I know what you're saying. But then to know what you can do and what you can't do. So you're not going to go and say, well, I'm going to have, you know, 6 different types of dairy-free milk in my fridge. You have to kind of draw the line somewhere.
To state, you know, pre-orders only, although I will take orders from the door. Yeah. But I've reduced that to make it worthwhile. So if you go online and you want to order a picnic, you'll have other choices. Yes. You know, you'll have chicken, you'll have this, you'll have that. If you knock on the door, I've kept it to products that have a longer shelf life, that I can keep in the fridge, that I can end up doing quickly. So tuna, open a tin with mayonnaise, cheese, it's there, it's, you know, and so there are certain things that I can serve quickly without waste, and then for pre-orders I can do.
You can do a lot more, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have a bit more time to do that. And just picking up on something you were saying earlier about using the village hall and having to kind of prepare everything, but then that's the fun part, and not wanting to stand behind a counter just serving tea and coffee in a coffee shop kind of environment. It is very different, isn't it? Because when we create the afternoon tea experience, it's the experience that gives us the joy in creating rather than just serving.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's the ambiance, the atmosphere. 50% of the guests' pleasure comes from that, because personally, you know, they sort of rave about it. I'm thinking, well, actually, the food is nice, but it's not that special. And yet you said, oh, it was wonderful. And I know it's the whole experience that has made them come away thinking, you know, the room makes them feel good. So, you know, you can sit somewhere without any atmosphere that you look around and think, oh, this is a bit, and the experience is not the same.
No,
so,
absolutely.
You know, I would say the food is nice. It's really
good.
Nothing.
It's good.
It's fine.
But it's the whole package though, isn't it?
The whole thing. And
whole
so
experience,
for me, I'm quite creative and artistic, and so for me that's where the pleasure comes, to then take a photo and say, wow, that looks really lovely.
And I must admit, thank you for posting some of those photographs on the group, because that is very inspirational, I think, for a lot of people, and especially the fact that you're in the UK, and a lot of tea room owners that are in the group are from the US or Canada, and they're taking inspiration from that Britishness.
Because I've only recently learned what Instagram is. My daughters have taught me, and they're losing their patience with me. I'm slowly getting to grips with it. But I will be posting sort of, you know, photos of that, of Castle Combe, and also with the picnic. So we've got, for the little picnic shop, there's an Instagram page. For the Old Rectory Pop-Up Tea Room, there's an Instagram page and a Facebook page for both. So we love to, it would be lovely to sort of have some members, you know, join and follow me and keep in touch like that. It'd be really interesting.
I'm sure they'd love to do that. Can you tell me how many people actually live in the village? I know you said that you've only got about 50% of properties with residents now.
Yeah. No, that's a difficult question. So I think probably, to be honest, we are probably maybe 40 people.
Oh, really? 40 households?
Not 40 households, 40
people. Oh, wow.
So, you know, like I say, it's the Castle Combe is just one street. The lower village.
Right, yeah.
And so, you know, for instance, here we have probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 houses which are occupied, and another 10 which are, like I said,
the holiday homes or such, like, and I imagine
Castle Combe, which is different. It's kind of further up and spread out, and
right. Okay, well, thank you for that, because that just gives me a bit of a concept, but you're getting a lot of tourism coming in with that other 50% of properties, so you've got new people coming in every week, I would imagine.
But I mean, this is, Castle Combe is known for being the prettiest village in England.
Yes.
So we had Warhorse filmed here, Dr. Dolittle in the 60s was filmed here, Poirot's, various TV things. And on a sort of weekend, there will be hundreds of people.
Wow.
I mean, literally hundreds.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And since COVID, so prior to COVID, every day you might have 3 coaches with 50 Japanese alone that would come and go. We've had a lot of American tourists this year.
Yeah.
So during the week on a day like this, which is grey and miserable, it's pretty quiet. And actually, you couldn't function as a full-time cafe or tea room or anything here because you might get 5 people in.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
It
yeah.
wouldn't work. People, there is a coffee shop here, and where they make their money is on the weekend.
Yes.
It's just not viable to have a full-time business somewhere like this because on a rainy day, nobody comes.
Yes, no.
You're relying on good weather, but what is so fabulous about, say, TripAdvisor is that, I get calls from people from all over the world saying, we're coming in so-and-so, can we book a picnic? And they're coming from Los Angeles, they're coming from Japan, they're coming from, so it is a fantastic tool.
Yes, no, that's wonderful. And I think the fact that you are kind of pre-ordering and you can pre-make, I mean, that's so many people who are would-be tea room owners say, how can I raise the money and how much is it going to cost? And they kind of want to go straight to the full-time tea room, and they've never even served afternoon tea and charged for it yet. And it's like, don't try and make that leap because that is just too big. And it might be that is never something you do, that you do something like a pop-up. I certainly started with a pop-up tea room and I was actually doing it in cafes that were closed in the afternoon, because that's the beautiful thing about afternoon tea, is that it's an afternoon activity typically. And in the US, you have a lot of cafes that open for breakfast and lunch, and then they're closed. So that was one of the things I did and sort of partnered up with that. And knowing how many people you have coming through the door is so much easier than just, like you say, sitting waiting for dribs and drabs. And then you've got all your expenses. And then if you do have a place, you have to have staff, and you're managing to do this all on your own.
Exactly. So I don't have any staff. It's just me. I've got a girl who does come to help me sometimes with washing up and sewing and anything. She's kind of a friend, but that's my only helper. Of course, I drag my husband to put tables out and put them away, and so he's quite good at doing things like that. But there are so many things. I could even further expand and branch out if I wanted to. I could do catering. But it's just I haven't got time. I just haven't got time. But people are after catering. I've had people call, say, look, we're getting married, we've got this venue, we've got a dinner booked, but we just want something for our guests at lunchtime. Can you provide what you do? And I'm thinking, I can, but the whole point is it's the tea room experience that I want to give you. So what I say to them in that situation is, if you want it in the form of a picnic, so I'll do 50 boxes, come and pick them up. Do you know what I mean? So that's not individual sort of people coming to me. It's looking at ways where you can mass produce, get it all out in one day, and it's done.
It's done. And that's something we did at the tea room over here, where we were thinking, do we want to do the catering? And it's like, well, can I afford the staff to go out and deliver this? And it's something I did when it was just me. I did tea party catering when I very first started. But when we had the tea room, it's like, you know what? We'll do afternoon tea. We say to go rather than takeaway here in the States. So afternoon tea to go. And we had a basic menu, and people could say, yes, I want, a whole quiche. We do like a whole batch of scones. We do a whole cake. So we weren't selling things by the slice or the piece. We're selling it by the batch. And you can come and collect it. And so we did, like I say, afternoon tea to go, and that was very well received, actually. And it just meant that we didn't have the overhead of having to do like a secondary business on the side. It was just extra work that we were doing anyway. So there's lots of different ways of doing it, but knowing what business you want to be in and what business you don't want to be in, I think is important to know.
I'm just in the business of wanting to make lots of money.
Yes, yes, in the easiest possible way. And sometimes we end up doing it so difficult.
It has to be enjoyable. Yeah,
that's right. And as soon as the fun goes out of it, you know that it's probably not the right thing to do. And sometimes I think we wake up as business owners, we wake up one day, because we've been chasing the money, we end up doing stuff that we don't enjoy. And then it's like, you know, I've now got this business and I just don't like it anymore and I'm burning out. And it's like, well, let's look at what you really want to do.
I have to enjoy it. I have to get pleasure from it. And when I say I'm in the business of making money, of course, it's lovely making money, but it has to give me some sense of satisfaction and pleasure.
Joy,
and actually, I get that from the response that I get from my guests. Yeah. So I remember the first, I'll have to go shortly. I'm looking at the clock. So I'm going to.
Yes, I'm familiar.
But the first call I had for bed and breakfast, I can't remember how we advertised it, but I had a call from someone saying, can we book for bed and breakfast? Yes, you can. I was so excited. And he said, it's our honeymoon night. And I thought, oh my God, my first booking, how am I going to make this? So I went and I bought flowers, I bought champagne, I did this, I did that, chocolates. Anyway, after they left, my husband said, so how much did you make? I said, well, I'm down by about £60. He said, okay, this is not the way to go forward. But today was special and I wanted it to be special. And actually then, it was good business, you know. But that first time, I just wanted them to really go away thinking. And
I think that's an important lesson as well, isn't it? Is to try these things out, but then make a note of what it's cost you, and then decide, well, what am I going to do next time, and what am I going to charge for that, so that you can actually.
Oh no, I knew I would make no money from that one. It was just I wanted them to have the best time. And
exactly. But we can't run a business that way. It's an expensive hobby if we're not careful, so it's getting that balance there. Oh, fantastic.
Well, I think having started that way, when it came to the end of the bed and breakfast time, because I think I then I just thought I don't want to do this anymore. I think we just offered the bed. We said go to the pub for breakfast. So we went, it was a case of it's bed, you know, you come, sleep, go, have your breakfast there.
Yes,
so we ended up doing that for a period, and then that's it. We sort of dropped.
And that's very much the Airbnb kind of model as well. So that's good.
I think you adapt things to make it work for you, whatever it is. You know?
That's right, and I think that's something people forget when they start business. They think that there's so many shoulds, rather than, well, actually, let's check in. Am I happy doing this? Well, actually, no. And be able to kind of pivot. And when it is you and your business and it's small, you have that power. And I think sometimes we forget that it's our business and we can build it how we want to. And your business will be very different from anyone else's business because you've got you in there. Thank you so much, Anna, for talking to us today. I love what you're doing with the picnic and how you're making it work, and that you've been doing it for so long. I really appreciate you sharing all the insights.
So when are you coming back to England?
Well, I'm visiting again in June. We've just bought the cottage that I grew up in.
Oh, wow.
And we're renovating it remotely at the moment.
Wow.
So we'll be moving, we're looking at moving back in the fall, maybe September, October time. And I don't know quite what I'm going to be doing. We'll be living in a small village of about 200 residents. We're about 3 miles away from our nearest town, which is a bit on the decline, and there's lots of potential there. And as an entrepreneur, I've been in the entrepreneurial realm for 25-30 years, something like that now. And I'm just seeing all this opportunity, and it's like, well, I don't quite know what I'm going to do yet. but
well, we must
I'm
come
sure I'll be doing
come and
something.
visit when you are over. It'd be nice,
Yes.
nice to have you.
Well, one of the things that I do is I bring American tourists over to the UK.
Okay.
And I did that in Derbyshire, where I'm from, and we do all the Derbyshire thing, which is, and the fact that you're over in Wiltshire is quite, quite interesting. So we could do a tea room tour, which would be kind of cool.
Well, when they come to this area, they tend to visit Laycock, which is about 20 minutes from here, where there's Laycock Abbey.
Oh, right.
And they filmed Harry Potter and Pride and Prejudice. So it's a bigger version of Castle Combe, and very nice to see, mainly owned by the National Trust. So they tend to do Laycock, Castle Combe, Bath, possibly Stonehenge. So the tour guides, they come to me depending on how much time they have.
Well, I like to try and take people more off the beaten track. So we don't do the Bath and Stonehenge thing, but we do I call it, living like a local. So it's more, where people would go. But so we must keep in touch. But thank you so much for contributing. Thank you for being a member of Tea Room Secrets.
Pleasure.
And I look forward to meeting you in person at some point. Okay, my darling, you take care. Bye now. Bye.